She humiliated me in front of everyone, laughed at my dress, called me classless, and made sure all her friends heard it. But what she never expected was that I came prepared with something far more revealing than silk. Because just hours later, while she posed like a queen, her own boyfriend pulled me aside, and I shattered her entire world with one quiet move. I did not raise my voice. I did not fight back. I simply showed him what she had hidden in her purse and watched the chaos unfold. What happened next? You would not believe it even if you saw it. Watch till the very end. My name is Evelyn Carter. I am 32 years old, a high school art teacher from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I used to believe that family meant loyalty. But now I know better. The drama began with a dress. Not an extravagant one, just a simple pale blue satin slip dress I bought on sale because it flattered my curves and felt comfortable. I wore it to my sister-in-law's birthday party, completely unaware that I was stepping into a lion's den. Her name is Madison. She is 27, my husband's younger sister, and the kind of woman who treats every social gathering like an audition for a reality show. Her birthday was being held at a fancy rooftop lounge in downtown Raleigh. Overpriced cocktails, curated photo booths, and a crowd more interested in Instagram stories than actual conversation. I arrived with my husband, Jason. We have been married for 6 years. I still remember how Madison smiled at me during our wedding, like she was happy for us, but it faded quickly. Over the years, her passive-aggressive remarks, constant backhanded compliments, and subtle jabs became routine. I usually ignored them, but that night, she took it to a whole new level. As we walked in, she made sure to greet everyone, except me. Then, when I finally approached her with a gift bag, she turned to her friends and said loudly, "Some people just do not have style or class. Like, why wear that kind of dress? It is giving clearance rack at a gas station." Her friends laughed, the kind of forced, high-pitched giggle that lets you know they were not laughing at the joke, but at me. Jason, ever oblivious or maybe just uninterested in conflict, looked at me, shrugged, and went to grab a drink. I stood there, holding the gift I picked out so carefully, an expensive skincare set she had mentioned once at brunch. I wanted to walk out. I should have. But instead, I smiled. Not because I was okay, but because I had already decided that tonight I would not play the role of the quiet sister-in-law. Not anymore. The first crack came when I noticed how Madison's boyfriend, Daniel, kept staring at me. I ignored it at first. Daniel was attractive, no doubt. Tall, well-dressed, charming in a way that made people lean in when he talked. But I had zero interest in anything outside of my marriage, and I assumed he was just being polite. Until he followed me to the bar. "Evelyn, right?" he said, leaning a little too close. "You really do stand out tonight. Madison said you were an art teacher. Explains the bold fashion choices. I like bold." I stepped away slightly and offered a polite nod. "I appreciate that, but I am married to Madison's brother, remember?" He laughed. "Just saying, if you ever change your mind." I did not respond. I excused myself and walked toward the restroom, needing space, clarity, something to make me feel human again. But fate had other plans. On the way, I passed a table where Madison had left her purse. I do not know why I looked in it. Maybe I was searching for tissues. Maybe it was instinct. Or maybe the universe just wanted me to know. Inside, tucked between a compact mirror and a lipstick tube, was a pregnancy test. Still in its wrapper. Used. I froze. I had no idea what to think. Was it hers? Was it someone else's? But then I remembered the text messages I accidentally saw on Jason's phone a week ago. A chat between Madison and someone named C, where she wrote, "I am late. If it is positive, I am telling Daniel. He will freak." That was the moment I knew. The test was hers. And suddenly, I had a decision to make. I stood there for several seconds, staring at the test like it had the power to detonate everything in front of me. And in a way, it did. I slipped it back inside the purse without touching anything else. Heart pounding, questions swirling in my head. Was she planning to tell Daniel tonight? Was she even sure it was his? And most of all, why hide it if she had nothing to be ashamed of? When I returned to the main lounge area, the party had only grown louder. The music was pulsing, People were dancing, and Madison was in the center of it all, holding a cocktail in one hand, laughing like the queen of the room. I watched her, wondering how someone so smug could carry a secret that heavy in her purse without it showing on her face. I decided to sit near the back, away from the flashing lights. Jason was already tipsy and chatting with some college friend he had not seen in years. He did not even glance my way, but Daniel did. Again. He approached with 2 drinks and sat beside me like we were old friends. "This place is insane, right?" he said, handing me a glass I never asked for. "You looked like you needed company." I kept my voice calm. "I am good, thank you." But he did not get the hint, or maybe he did and just did not care. He leaned in again. "Listen, I know this sounds crazy, but you and we have something. You feel it too. The energy." I stared at him, stunned at how brazen he was. "You are Madison's boyfriend," I reminded him. "You are at her birthday, and I am married." His smile never faded. "Relationships are complicated. Besides, it is not like I am asking you to run off tonight. Just a number. We could talk, privately." I took a deep breath. I wanted to slap him, but instead I said nothing. I reached into my clutch and pulled out the one thing I knew he would not expect. "I think you should ask Madison about this," I said, as I held out the pregnancy test, wrapped in a napkin. He blinked, confused. Then recognition dawned. His face went pale so fast, it was like someone had drained the blood from his body. "What? Is this real?" I did not answer. I just looked him straight in the eyes. At that exact moment, Madison turned and spotted us. Her eyes narrowed when she saw the object in my hand. Then she stormed over like a hurricane. "What are you doing?" she demanded, her voice cutting through the music. Daniel turned to her, still visibly shaken. Is this yours?" Her eyes flicked to the test, then to me, then back to Daniel, and for the first time all night she had no words, just a flicker of fear in her eyes. It lasted only a second, but I saw it, and so did he. People began to notice. Conversations died. Phones started to record. Madison tried to grab the test from Daniel's hand, but he pulled back. "You were going to tell me when?" he asked, his voice cracking. She hissed, "Not here, Daniel. Not like this." I stood up, grabbed my purse, and said just loud enough for them both to hear. "Some people may not have style or class, but at least they do not lie." I walked out. I did not look back. I did not need to. The screams began the moment the elevator doors closed. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought exposing her secret would be enough. I was wrong. Because the next morning, I woke up to a storm I never saw coming. When I woke up the next morning, the first thing I noticed was that my phone was vibrating non-stop. Dozens of missed calls, texts, and notifications flooded the screen like a tidal wave. Some were from mutual friends, others from numbers I did not even recognize. But they all had one thing in common. Everyone had seen the video. Someone had recorded the exact moment Daniel confronted Madison. The video captured my hand holding the pregnancy test, Daniel's shocked expression, Madison's rage, and my final line before walking away. It had already gone viral on TikTok and Instagram, and strangers were now tagging me in posts, calling me iconic sister-in-law and queen of class. The comments ranged from supportive to brutal. One user wrote, "Madison got exposed at her own party. That's karma in heels." Another added, "Imagine mocking someone's dress and getting your whole life blown up minutes later." I was still processing the chaos when Jason walked into the room, rubbing his temples like he had a hangover. He looked at my phone and frowned. "Why is your phone blowing up?" I handed it to him. "Because your sister's party made national drama. Congratulations. Your family is now entertainment." He scrolled through the videos, the comments, the trending hashtags. His face twisted with irritation, not concern. "You could have handled that privately, Evelyn." I stared at him in disbelief. She humiliated me in front of everyone. Her boyfriend harassed me, and she is pregnant and hiding it. But you want to talk about privacy? He set the phone down. "You made it worse." There was a coldness in his voice I had not heard before, and then it hit me. He was not just upset about the exposure. He was angry that I had upstaged his sister. Again, that I had broken the image they all tried so hard to maintain. I sat on the edge of the bed, my voice steady. Jason, are you angry because I stood up for myself? Or because your family is finally showing their true colors? He did not answer. Instead, he walked out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Later that afternoon, I received a message from an anonymous Instagram account. No profile picture, no name, just one sentence. You think you know everything. Ask Jason about Delilah. My stomach turned. I read it 3 times. Delilah? The name meant nothing to me, but something about the timing, right after the party, right after the fight with Jason, made it impossible to ignore. I searched his phone when he left it unattended in the kitchen. I hated doing it, but something told me I needed to. My hands shook as I scrolled through messages, checking for the name. Nothing at first. Then I found an email draft. Unsent, titled D. It read, Delilah, I cannot keep doing this. I love you, but I cannot leave Evelyn yet. She deserves better. We both know that. I dropped the phone. Jason was cheating on me. He had the audacity to scold me for revealing Madison's secret while hiding one of his own, a worse one, a betrayal that cut deeper than any public insult ever could. I sat in silence for what felt like hours. My body was frozen, my mind racing through every interaction, every late meeting, every sudden work trip that never made sense. And then I remembered something, Madison's smug face at our last family dinner, when she said, some women are too comfortable in their marriage. They stop paying attention. She knew. She had known the entire time. And that changed everything. I could not stay quiet anymore. Not after what I had just discovered. I sat on the floor of my kitchen, Jason's phone still on the table behind me, my mind spiraling through every possible scenario. The man I had shared 6 years of my life with, the one who had once held my hand during surgery, who knew my favorite way to fall asleep, had been giving pieces of himself to someone else, someone named Delilah. And Madison had known. The humiliation burned worse than her insult at the party. I decided I would not confront Jason. Not yet. I wanted the full truth first. I needed to know who Delilah was before I walked into another storm unarmed. I did not trust Jason to give me the truth, but I knew someone who might. That afternoon, I sent Madison a message. Just one line. We need to talk, your place, no cameras, no drama. She replied in 5 minutes. Fine, 1 hour. I arrived at her apartment with no makeup, no heels, no performance, just truth. She opened the door and rolled her eyes when she saw me. What now? Come to gloat again. I walked in without waiting for permission. Sit down, Madison. Her eyebrows lifted. Excuse me? I stared at her until she moved to the couch. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot of the email Jason wrote. I watched her face carefully. There was no surprise, only a slow, knowing smirk. So you finally found out, she said. Who is Delilah? I asked. She stretched her legs like she was settling into a story she had been waiting to tell for a long time. She is someone who is way too good for Jason. Honestly, I told him to break it off with you months ago. I blinked. You encouraged this? Madison scoffed. You act like your marriage was perfect. You dress like you are still in high school. You always looked like you were holding him back. Delilah is successful, stylish, and guess what? She is my best friend. The words hit me like a brick. I had met Delilah once, briefly, during a dinner Madison hosted 6 months ago. She was tall, elegant, worked in corporate finance, and had barely acknowledged me. Now I understood why. She already saw me as disposable. Madison continued, Jason was going to tell you after your anniversary, but then your little drama at my birthday happened and, well, now he is stalling. As usual. My throat went dry. You helped your brother cheat on me. She shrugged. I helped him find someone better, and if you are smart, you will leave quietly, save what little pride you have left. I stood up slowly. My heart was pounding, but I kept my voice calm. Do you know what pride looks like, Madison? It looks like walking away with dignity while the rest of you drown in your own mess. As I turned to leave, she said something that stopped me cold. By the way, the pregnancy test, not Daniel's. I turned back, stunned. Wait, what? She smiled. You heard me, that test wasn't for Daniel. He was just convenient leverage. The real father is someone else. I stared at her, speechless. Who? I asked quietly. She leaned in and whispered, "Ask your husband." I left her apartment in silence, my legs trembling. The puzzle pieces were falling into place, and the picture they were forming was far uglier than I ever imagined. Because now I had to face the one question I never thought I would ask. Was Jason the father of Madison's unborn child? I drove home in silence. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly, my knuckles were white. The city around me blurred into a series of colors and lights I could no longer process. Madison's last words echoed inside my head, pounding harder than my heartbeat. "Ask your husband." She had dropped the line like a casual afterthought, but it shattered me more than anything she had ever said before. The possibility that Jason could be the father of Madison's baby felt so grotesque, so vile, that even thinking it made my stomach churn. When I walked into the house, Jason was in the kitchen on his phone, drinking a protein shake like it was just another day. I stood by the doorway for a long moment, staring at the man I thought I knew. The man who slept beside me, who kissed my forehead before bed. And now, I could not even look at him without feeling disgusted. "I know about Delilah," I said, voice flat. He turned slowly, then sighed, not with guilt, but exhaustion. "So Madison told you." I nodded. "And she also said something else, about the pregnancy test. She said it was not Daniel's." Jason's face changed. It was only for a second, but it was enough. A flicker of panic, then a smooth cover-up. He looked down, then back at me. "She's lying, trying to get attention. She said to ask you." He shook his head and forced a laugh. "Evelyn, she has always hated you. You are really going to believe." "Are you the father?" The words came out before I could filter them. They sliced through the kitchen air like a knife. Jason opened his mouth, then closed it. That hesitation was louder than any confession. I stepped back. "You slept with your own sister." His eyes went wide. "What? No. God, no. She is not my sister." I froze. "What?" He looked away. "We are not biologically related. My father married her mom when we were teenagers. That's it. No blood." It did not matter. Not to me. It still felt like incest. It still felt like betrayal on the deepest level. But more than anything, it confirmed that something had happened between them. "I was drunk," he said. "It happened once, years ago, before we got married. I never told you because it meant nothing. It was a mistake." I stared at him, searching for any sign of remorse. There was none. "And now she is pregnant. You think it might be yours?" He rubbed his forehead. "I do not know. She will not tell me anything. She keeps saying she wants to keep her options open." My voice dropped. "She used Daniel to make you jealous, and you let her." He looked up at me, finally defeated. "What do you want from me, Evelyn? I messed up, but I love you. I always have." The tears in my eyes were not from heartbreak. They were from the horrifying realization that I had given everything to someone who saw me as second best, as the safer choice. I packed a bag that night. I did not yell. I did not scream. I just left. Quietly. I needed space to think. Time to breathe. The next morning, I went to a hotel. I turned off my phone, but by the second day, my curiosity got the best of me. I checked my messages, and one caught my eye. A photo, sent from a blocked number. It was Madison, standing outside a clinic. The caption read, "He wants to pretend it never happened, but now everyone will know the truth." Hours later, Madison posted a video online. Not a dramatic meltdown like last time. This one was controlled, polished, calculated. She sat on her couch, perfect makeup, hair curled, looking into the camera. "I have something to say," she began. "The pregnancy rumors are true, but the man involved is not who everyone thinks. It is someone close, someone married. And yes, his wife knows, because I told her." By evening, my inbox was flooded, again. And this time Jason was the target. He came crawling to the hotel, begging me not to believe her, but it was too late. The damage was done, and the final piece was falling into place. Because what he did not know What neither of them knew was that I had already scheduled a meeting with a divorce attorney, and I was not walking away empty-handed. I sat across from the attorney, a woman named Marcia Klein. Sharp eyes, sharper voice. She read through the notes I had compiled, nodding occasionally, then folded her hands and looked at me with something that almost resembled admiration. "You have leverage," she said simply. "More than most women in your situation. He cheated. It is messy, and if the pregnancy gets tied to him publicly, even messier." I nodded. My hands were clenched in my lap, but my voice remained steady. "I want out, but I do not want to leave," quietly. Marcia smiled. "Good." We spent the next 2 hours planning everything. Jason and I had joint investments, a shared property in Asheville, and a startup he co-owned that had my name as a silent partner, something he had added to make tax filings easier. He thought it meant nothing. He was wrong. By the end of that meeting, the foundation for my exit was in place. Not just an escape, but a reversal. I was not the discarded wife, not the woman sobbing on a bathroom floor. I was the one holding the detonator. I returned home 3 days later, acting as if I had calmed down, as if I needed clarity. Jason fell for it instantly. He cooked dinner, offered to take time off work, promised therapy. He even blocked Madison on everything and handed me his phone like it was a peace offering. But it was too late. The next week, I attended a charity gala for the school district where I taught. Jason was supposed to come, but claimed he was feeling sick. I said nothing. I kissed his cheek and left. Madison was there. She was wearing a sleek red dress, pretending she had not humiliated her entire family online. People were whispering around her, but she smiled like she loved the attention. She always did. When our eyes met, she walked over with her wine glass and that same smug look. "You really think leaving him fixes anything?" she said. "He still wants me. He always did." I leaned in and whispered, "You might want to enjoy this event. It will be your last one for a while." Her smile faltered. "Excuse me?" I pulled back, calm and even. "You probably should not lie on public videos when there are text messages proving otherwise." She stared at me, the color draining from her face. "What are you talking about?" I did not answer. I did not need to, because that night, while she was at the gala posing for selfies, her phone buzzed with a legal notice. A defamation claim, backed by evidence. Screenshots of texts between her and Jason, where she admitted to manipulating the situation for attention, even admitting the baby was not his, and laughing about how she would ruin Evelyn's pretty little world. The lawsuit was real, and the evidence was airtight. Jason tried to call me 21 times that night. I did not answer. By morning, my lawyer had delivered the divorce papers and outlined my financial terms. Half of everything. The Asheville property, a portion of the company's assets, and full rights to withdraw from the startup with a compensation clause. He called again, this time sobbing into the voicemail. "I messed up. Please, Evelyn. Please do not destroy me." But I had already decided. He destroyed himself. 2 weeks later, I moved into a sunlit apartment uptown. Quiet, clean, free. My name was on the lease alone. I brought only what mattered, my art supplies, my books, and one dress, the pale blue satin one I had worn to Madison's birthday, the one she mocked so loudly in front of everyone. It hung in my closet like a trophy. I wore it again for a photo shoot with the local lifestyle magazine that did a feature on women who had rebuilt their lives after betrayal. My photo ran beside the headline, "Some people do not have style, maybe, but some people do not have integrity." And just like that, I stopped being the joke in the room. Now, people remembered me for something else entirely. Months passed. The legal dust began to settle, but the emotional debris still lingered like smoke after a fire. People moved on with their lives, but Madison and Jason were stuck in a strange limbo. The lawsuit against Madison forced her into silence. Her social media accounts vanished. Her sponsorship deals were pulled. The podcast she was planning about influencer confidence was cancelled before it even launched. She had gone from the loudest voice in the room to a name people whispered only with pity. Jason tried to rebuild what was left of his career, but the internet had a long memory. Once the messages became public, investors in his startup began to pull out. His business partner filed for full control, and accused Jason of fraudulently assigning shares to me without consent, an accusation that I had to refute through my lawyer. I did, but not before ensuring Jason paid the price. He lost half his company, he lost me, and he lost the illusion of being the man who had it all together. Then came the letter. Not an email, a physical handwritten letter delivered to my new address, with no return name, only the initials D. I opened it, curious but cautious. Inside were only a few lines. I am sorry. I knew about everything. He promised he would leave you, but I should have known better. I did not just betray a woman. I betrayed someone I should have respected. You deserved better. Delilah. I stared at the words, feeling nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just emptiness. She had been part of the storm, but now she was just another piece of wreckage swept away in the aftermath. But it was what came next that shook me again. I received a message request from an account I did not recognize. No profile picture, no name, just a single image, a sonogram. Beneath it, one sentence. You were right. It was not Daniel. And it is not Jason either. I lied. I always do. It was from Madison. I sat there for a moment, unsure if I was supposed to feel relief, or rage, or simply amusement. In the end, I felt nothing but closure. She had used her pregnancy like a weapon, trying to control everyone around her, but she could not even keep her lies straight anymore. I blocked the account and deleted the message. That night, I went to an art exhibit downtown, something I had avoided during all the chaos. As I stood in front of a painting that reminded me of who I used to be, a woman filled with color and peace, I heard a voice beside me. You have great taste. I turned to see a man around my age, soft brown eyes, kind smile. He introduced himself as Marcus, a fellow art teacher, divorced, 2 kids, quiet energy. We talked for an hour, then walked out of the exhibit into the cool evening air. He did not ask for my number right away. He just said, if we see each other here again, I would not be mad. I smiled and nodded. As I walked away, I realized something. I had been so consumed by betrayal, so fixated on revenge, that I had forgotten what it felt like to simply exist, to be seen not as a sister-in-law, a wife, or a viral moment, but just as Evelyn. And that was the real twist in all of this. Not that Madison lied, not that Jason crumbled, not that I walked away, but that I finally became someone I recognized again. Not perfect, not polished, but real. And completely, unapologetically free. So if you love stories that feel real, emotional, and packed with twists that hit hard, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Your next favorite story might be the one we drop tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button now and join a community that lives for the drama, the justice, and the unforgettable endings.